Everything's okay? Engines?
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Okay, so we are on. Hello, everybody. Let me welcome you within the discussion after the second day of online festival. I hear some unwanted voices, so please, if you don't speak already, can you please turn off your microphones and then turn them on when speaking. My name is Roman. I'm the student of the Janáček's Academy, and I will be the host for today's discussion. Let me welcome all the participants, and we will be discussing the performances as follows. The first one goes the Czech performance called HÁDY. Then there is the Armenian production called The City Noise, and the third one is a performance from Germany called That Wasn't It. The guys from Germany will be attending later, as they have some program already going on. And now let me please play the short view or actually the trailer of the first performance called the HÁDY from Czech Republic, Janáček's Academy of Performing Arts. Enjoy.
Ano, je to tak, kolegyně. Nikdo ho nepostrádá, proto ho máme teď.
Vás to napadlo, soudruhu vedoucí! Vy už nebudete soudruh vedoucí.
Jsem musel probírat složkama vašich podělaných rodičů.
Soudruzi, jste prvními členy strany ve Starých Dvorech. Blahopřejeme!
No, to je ale vůně.
Dům je starší než zámek a je památkově chráněný.
Oj.
To?
Žádám o cestovní pasport s povolením k výjezdu do Československa.
Okay, now let me read the short annotation for the first performance, which comes from Janáček's Academy of Performing Arts in Brno, Czech Republic, which is called HÁDY Touching the Past. The fact that in Brno, the realm of the dead is situated above the city does not imply that paradise is located below the city. Looking for it is our lifelong destiny. Is paradise in the truth or the truth in paradise? The original theater script based on Sylvia Richter's novel called Let Everything Reach Its Place tells a story that both is and is not about living in the communist regime. So, and now let me welcome the director of the performance, Igor Dostálek, and the actress, Veronika Špačková. They will not be speaking in Czech, obviously, as you would not understand them. And the first question goes to director, who is also the teacher of the performing acting year. So, Mr. Dostálek, how did you pick up such a topic? Because as I remember some time ago, I guess it's already almost 2 years, you were speaking about it. And how did you, or why did you pick up just this or write this novel to make into theater?
Yes, that is. I didn't write the novel. The novel is quite big.
Sorry, read. Sorry, yes. Pardon me.
Okay. Hello to everybody. It's all about my personal meeting with this book. Actually, by chance, it happened that me as an actor, I was reading it for the Czech National Radio, and I just fall in love with the way how she, Mr. Sylvia, which is living in Rome. She's an immigrant from the communist regime, and she knows about the festival. She's greeting you. And she wrote not a chronicle of things, but how to say, some turning back through the being child, being a teenager, being a young woman or man in a socialist communist regime, and then leaving it. But it's not about the facts. It's not about who is right, who is wrong. It's about how to deal with all these, or the complexity of life, which is uneasy to judge and to say you are good, you are bad. And as well, at the same time, that there is an objective truth. Something is wrong and something is bad. And she is speaking in very gentle, and all this book, it's a poetry. It's not just a novel. Actually, there are nearly no dialogues. We have to all with Veronika, dramaturgist, write it. But the way how she's trying to think about complexity of life, especially seeing from the point of narrator, who is out of this material world, but has gone through it. It was for me very healing, because in my family, in my close family, there are different ideological, how to say, the point of view, how to see believers, non-believers, atheists, communists. And for example, I really admire Germany and German culture, which went through a hard process of denazification. And we still haven't gone through the process of, how to say, de-Bolshevism. And but it's not, this is not to deal with it on a political, ideological level, but on a very personal and in a very poetic way. This is what made me attracted to this novel, and I found the idea to try to do it on the stage.
And excuse me or pardon me, and I do deeply apologize. I didn't welcome Veronika Volejníková, who did the dramaturgy work for this performance, and I was looking at you all the time, and I'm so sorry, and I deeply apologize. So let me welcome Veronika with us as well. And if I may ask you now, that actually the thing is that either we consider the topic really focused on the communist regime or the era it was happening mostly in, and as I guess you didn't live in that regime or during that time. And was it difficult for you, or did you find it difficult to think in such ways which the book was written in?
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay. Well, it wasn't difficult for me because, as Igor said, he has a very specific background from his family, and it's quite the same with me. It's about believers, non-believers, about politician point of view. And I have one grandma who is in a church, and her family had a very, very difficult history and very difficult zkušenost, sorry.
Experience.
Yeah, very, very difficult experience with communism. So as a child, she taught me everything what happened to her family. So it was easier for me to come and write the script, because I don't have experience, but I can at least imagine what happened. So that's it.
as it was the part of our history for really some long time. And how was your work or the experience with the teaching, so-called teaching director, that Mr. Igor is also the leading teacher of the acting class, performing in the performance. So how was your experience with such work?
Yeah. Well, first I was afraid of that because you know, I just wanted first I wanted to work with classmate or like someone, sorry, got younger or more like me, but I don't have any classmates, so I didn't have a choice. But then we found a speech, and I can't explain. It was nice, and it was a lot of work and a lot of time we worked together, especially because it's a big book and a lot of pages, and that's why it's 3 hours performance. But I guess for me it was nice experience.
As we know, we have some situation about so-called COVID situation now going on, and actually, if I may say, that this performance was the only one of the school year that students or performers or the actors from this performance were actually supposed already to have premiered maybe the third one in a row, I mean the third performance, and this is the only one. So how was, Veronika, the work within the COVID time or the hard times we are having? And maybe then we can move to the question about how was finding the themes, the topics, the ideas within the great book, and then the theater piece we already saw. So, if you please.
In the term of COVID, I guess it could be worse because the process was in a summer when COVID situation wasn't as bad as now it is in Czech Republic. So rehearsing was, of course, it was hard, but in a context of COVID situation, it wasn't as bad. And I'm sorry, what the second part of the question?
Actually, it was about finding the themes or the ideas. I mean, that go over the really. I mean, there's this really strong overcoming aspect of the communist regime or the era, but there are also the topics that overcome it. I mean, that come out more and more, that you used in the theater performance.
Well, as I said, sometimes I answer the different questions.
Okay.
Just nobody asking for, but well, maybe please.
Okay, maybe
can you answer? I'm
correct. Maybe Mr. Dostálek can answer this question about how was it with the really young people who never experienced such a situation or the regime, and how was it to explain them and to find with them, which I guess you did, find with them the situations, the ideas that you mostly picked in the performance itself?
There are two questions. They are connected. The first one, how we choose, how we picked up from all lines. who was so brave and watched our performance till the end, 3 hours. Well, thank you for that, if somebody did it. And you saw that there is a strong, very strong and very dramatic situation at the very end. This one situation could fulfill one evening for performance. We could play only about it and go some reminiscence and so on. But the language of the book and our performance is a little bit homage to the author, Silvia Richterová. I have to say, I decided, and Veronika Volejníková followed, nicely followed, that we have to tell a lot of epic stories to get to enjoy all layers of the dramatic situation of two guys, which could be just good 60-old years guys, which are reminding their childhood. But it's like the ending was a reward for those who went through all these mini stories. That was how we picked up it. And it was very nice work with young actors. I hope the second Veronika, the actor, she will also say something, because of course I had to, it's usual. You have to say something about the era, you find documents, and we have good documents from Czech National TV about the era of 40 years before Velvet Revolution. Unfortunately, I think not many people in Czech Republic did see it, but it was normal that I will see how to retell to young people. But I was surprised that they really have just feelings. They have no knowledges. For example, which is not bad, which is not good. It's just let us happy they don't think about communism. They think about their future. But there is a big but nowadays. I had to. It's like, for example, for our foreigners, for foreign friends who were watching the performance, I think they must get absolutely lost because we didn't write, we were jumping in times. I put in subtitles at the beginning only 1981 that everybody knows, and then for Czech and Slovaks, as you are, Roman, if I say Horáková, Mrs. Horáková, everybody knows it's the only one political, personal woman executed in the Europe in some time, yeah, the only one. And I say this name and everybody knows the story. Our young actors, they did also, but very little. So I find it that it's, my aim wasn't to educate about history, because that overlapping or overcoming topic is how to deal with any horrific situation in your life, in your family, in your society, in your relationship. You can't only count pros and contrasts. You have to find another point of view. That is something. That's why we in annotation wrote it is as well is not about living in a communist regime. So that's my. Let I finish. I don't speak too long.
Okay, that's okay. The explanation is really, I mean, necessary for us. And now let me ask the other Veronika. Hello. I mean the actress. What was actually the most you enjoyed during the rehearsing of the performance? As if I'm not wrong, you only had 2 shows of the performance, or 3 of them. 3. How did you actually yourself like the topic, enjoy the topic? Was it difficult for you as you really change the characters during the performance? How does it work for you?
Well, hi everyone. This specific side of the performance is like really challenging for all of us actors. As you could see, we all have many created stories. We have different stories. We have different histories, and we have to change like in a second. Like we have to change the costumes or just one specific sign that changes the whole creature. So this is very challenging for us, like to come on the stage with a different, completely different type of a history behind this creature. So that is really challenging, and we are like small ants behind the stage, and we are just running and collecting all the props to know. It's really hard to organize everything, and it takes like 2 hours before the performance to get everything ready, because there are, we are coming from this door and then this door, so we have to have this prop here and then this prop here. It's huge work on organization before the performance, and then we almost don't speak behind the stage because we all concentrate on what we are going. So this was like really challenging for me, and I'm really glad that we did this, because I think that Igor could taught us about like really professional type of working in a theater, because we have to be really concentrated and to know where to go, where to start, and where to continue. So that was the first challenging part for me. And then before we started, Igor told us to ask.
Speed up.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm just too passionate.
That's okay. That's okay.
Before we even started the process of rehearsing, Igor told us to ask our ancestors, to our families, what they were going through due to the regime. And I found many things that I didn't even know about my families from both sides, from my mother's side and from my father's side. And I found out that my mom has a completely different experience with the regime. The whole family of my mother, they were like political prisoners. She couldn't even study. She really didn't have a good experience. She was really suffering during the regime. And then there's my father, who could study, who could do everything. And then I went to communicate with my grandmas and grandparents, and they told me about that. And I saw their different points of views and how it really worked during the regime. If you were plus, you could do something. If you were minus, you couldn't do something, and it really worked like that. So I wasn't looking at that like, oh my God, I was reading the script, and I wasn't thinking about it like, oh my God, this is like really impossible, and we are just saying the wrong things. No, this is how it worked, and this is how it was. So for me, like this pre-rehearsing part was also really hard to find out the part about my family, which wasn't really told about. Like we weren't talking about this. So this was really interesting for me. So before the process even started, and then during the rehearsals, finding about like, oh my God, I didn't live in a region, but I can feel what they felt, which was almost all the time the fear. Yeah, and then actions were connected with the fear of, and then the rehearsing, the professional view of organization. So yeah, all of the process was challenging for all of us.
And how did you, as an actress, personally identify with the ideas coming out of the theater piece? I mean, as the actress, you mostly see the piece from inside, let's say, as you are the part of it. But how do you look at it from the outside? As if you can, I'm just asking if you can. At least imagine that as looking at the theater piece from outside. Is it interesting, at least for you? Or I mean, did you pronounce the ideas correctly, or did it have the oh, come on, help me, the effect, let's say, the theater piece?
Well, as I was watching it yesterday, I was really looking forward, because as you say, I don't even have time when I'm not on the stage to look at my colleagues, to know what's happening. And I was really shocked what's really actually happening on the stage when I'm behind the stage and preparing for coming on a stage. So I was really shocked to look at the whole piece from a different point of view, like to really look at it the whole time I was watching it. And I was impressed. And I saw really one passionate feeling from that play, from the whole play, and that is that it's really about it's all about the human and the humanity that comes from us, and then we have to concentrate on really being humans and being humans in the best way. How can we be? And I was really proud of us that we could just breathe all the time on the stage, that we are still human. Like we do mistakes, like everybody does mistakes, and that's the humanity. but we then have to think about it. And that's in the second part of the play, when they are thinking about it, they're saying that they made the mistakes and that they know, well, what can we do? We are just touching the past. We are touching the past by thinking about it, by speaking about it. And we are pushing this experience forward so that there is no more doing and experiencing the same mistake. And that was breathing really to me from the TV. And I was feeling this really strong feeling that we are doing something really important, not just saying that something was wrong and saying like they were really wrong. No, we are saying there was something. We touched the past. We said there was something wrong. Let's just not do it again. That's what I saw.
Let's experience it, right? And is there actually any of your schoolmates, actors, who you don't meet on the stage? Or do you meet everyone, all of them? I mean personally during the performance, because you are mixed, and there are all the time someone with some others. I mean, is there, for example, Saba, who you don't meet when acting that performance?
I'm meeting Saba. We are like crossing when I'm with my lesbian partner, visiting the Czech Republic for the first time, and she is just finding someone who knows something about her father, and we want to buy the hot dog, and she's like crossing there. So I think that's the only the only time that we meet, and I think that's I think that's the only time that I meet her. But then I meet everyone.
Okay, so now let me please welcome our juror for this year, whose name is Ursula Terzan. Hi, Ursula. It's nice to see you.
Hello.
How did you personally like the performance? As I guess, it was the longest one, but let's not speak about the length as it's the only topic, but it was kind of a joke. How did you like it? As I guess you maybe personally experienced the times that are spoken in the novel originally. So what's your point of view?
Yes, as the first thing, it's very long. And first thing when because we only got the performance yesterday, and then we had our secret meeting with the jury. And I was like, oh my God, I have 3 more hours to see. And of course, I do want to see them from the beginning to the end. Now, in a way, it's easy. You can always press fast forward. But, you know, as a juror, you really don't do that. So I did take my time. And of course, found out that these 3 hours are very watchable, that you can watch this performance for 3 hours because the acting is strong. The way the play is put is really interesting. It keeps you going. You want to know more. Of course, it's a really big chunk, and you do have to be concentrated. If it was live, that would be, of course, so much more. I won't even say easier, because easy is not the right word. It would be normal to watch performance, follow the energy of the actors, because from everybody, from all the performances we as a jury have been watching, it's like you can see strong acting and interesting things on stage, but of course we can't feel your energy really, which would be a really good thing. But yes, you know, 3 hours do pass. I won't say very fast, but they do. And it's meant to be like that, because you are talking about time that it's lasting and things. And I think that's quite brave to take pauses, to sometimes just stay on stage and do nothing, which, you know, nowadays we just go, and again, you knew that we are going to be watching it as a video. It's probably quite courageous to do that, hoping that we're not going to go and fetch some coffee in the meantime. And also, yes, like you started, Roman, the fact is that all Slavic countries on this planet had similar history. Ours may not have been as harsh and rigid as yours. We luckily never had the invasion of Russians. we already started after the Second World War. We started a bit softer than you did, but not much softer. Also here we still have the same problem, so I could relate to all that, of course, was spoken in the play. We still now we have like the hardest right-wing president, which some of us hate very much, others love him, and we still haven't dealt with this topic either, not at all. It's getting actually worse every day, and it's really interesting to see that. I wish we had more plays like that at the moment here, because we desperately need them. So yes, I could relate to all that. And yes, 3 hours is long, but you did make your point. It needed to be made from how it started to where it gets you to. I think that would be a bit of an answer.
Thank you very much. And Mr. Dostálek, one more question for you. That as you showed the performance 3 times only because of the COVID situation, what was the response of the viewers? And maybe the question goes like this: that what was the experience or the points of view of the so-called younger generation and maybe the older generation? Was there any difference?
As you told, we played it only 3 times, and now listen to me. Half a year ago, I will repeat it, half a year ago. So we had before audience at the general rehearsal, then first night premiere, and the first reprise. Yes. And my young colleagues, they were of course very nervous at the premiere. All dean of the faculty, rector, jak se řekne rector?
Yeah, the head of the university.
The university, and many people from that time, some critics, and the performance was okay, but a little bit you could feel the time that it's long. The very next evening, it was like changing everything. It passed in no time, as it was meant, and thank you for you mentioned it, Ursula Terzan. And from the first evening, some professional theater people, let's say theater people, they say, you did nice work, a little bit long. The second evening, nobody was talking about the length. Yes, the miracle happened. And I was hoping that during all the repeating in front of audience, the young actors will get more and more braveness to step in front of the audience and so on, and the story will go on. But it wasn't so. I have to say that I admire them, that we a month ago we just made the recording without audience, just after one rehearsal or one day of rehearsal, and because of that pandemic and so on. And I was surprised how good they worked on this videotape. So sorry, I a little bit get lost, but the response of the audience, yes, many people, even our dean said, yes, I remember this lined up forward march. Yes, I remember this militia, people's militia candy box collection and so on. So older generation, older from me, I'm 48, 49 actually. Oh, time's passing so quickly. They are remaining the actual concrete things, but maybe sometimes loses the older topic because they are too in the story. And the young people, they say, well, I saw the story, I have to think about it, but I got in. So I'm happy that, it's only 3 evenings, but never start discussion only about politics, but about how uneasy it is to live. Sorry, I can't say more.
Okay, fair enough. We picked one question from the audience watching this streaming, and the question may go for Veronika Volejníková, if you please, and it is as the music in your performance was amazing. I would like to ask, why did you choose to use voiceovers of the main character?
Maybe it's more to me, but Veronica, if you want to say, because we didn't discuss the music with Veronika Volejníková.
Okay.
Yes. So sorry, may I? Okay.
Yeah. You should.
We had a great privilege that my assistant, my co-teacher of acting, she's an excellent singer and chanson singer, and all the actresses and actors and some more also like singing and live with music for a long time. And for me, I'm not such a musician, but I wanted to avoid to telling stories through the music, but just to help to set up quickly, deeply the atmosphere, while I am so still epic talking facts and situations. Let's stop for a while and let the music just on vocals make the atmosphere. Because in this music, and I admire it also, I feel always like, you know, when I hear it, with the help of this music, you can do what we are asking for the audience, to step from the track of the history and watch it from a different point. I'm not a musician. I told it in ideas work, but it was great privilege that we could do this on this very easy and emptiness scenography. The music and the light was scenography.
Thank you very much. And one last question for Veronika Špačková. Actually, this theater piece was kind of so-called really dramatic one. I mean, in the terms of narrativity and so on. Is this the kind of theater you enjoyed, or maybe? I guess you were really looking for the other pieces you were supposed to rehearse and to play later, but because of the situation you didn't do so. So this was actually your only theater piece. And did you enjoy this kind of narrativity in theater?
Well, I have to say that the narrativity in the theater, yeah, it's a great part of this performance, but it's not for us, it's for the audience. Like we say the history, the stories, but me as a creature, I have just a small part to tell, like in 3 sentences, that I'm afraid of something and I'm doing something and I'm pretending that I'm not afraid. But I have to say that just in a voice, just in my posture, you know, just how I stand or how I move on the stage. And so I don't think that it was really narrative from actress and actor's side. It's more narrative from the whole play. And it was really, as I said, it was really challenging to do this, like on many creatures. But I was really looking forward then to concentrate just on one creature, the whole play, and next time in the future, because this is really, really challenging and this is really hard. And I'm really looking forward to work on something where I'll have just one creature and I will just working on her process for the whole play performance till the end, and she will just stop at that, and that's okay. And I don't have to change costumes. Like I was counting it, I have 10 different costumes, and I'm changing them like so fast. Forward to have just one costume and just play in it for the whole performance. So yeah, I'm looking forward to do this kind of job also. But as I said before, it was really challenging, and I feel more strong to do this kind of work in my future work.
Great, thank you very much. And what I guess that we used our time. Thank you everybody very much for you attending this discussing panel. Thank you ladies, thank you gentlemen, and hopefully we will see live maybe next time or sometime. So thank you very much, bye-bye.
Thank you, bye-bye.
Bye.
And we are now moving to the next performance we could see yesterday. And please, our friends from Armenia, if you could just switch off your microphone and then turn it on when we are speaking. So the next performance is from Yerevan State Institute of Theatre and Cinematography, from located in Armenia, Yerevan, and the name of the stage play was The City Noise. Please, let's play the trailer or actually the short piece from the performance now.
Город шумит шипением пластинки. Город шумит.
Все!
We don't hear the trailer.
But on YouTube they can see, they can hear. We never hear the trailer. It's okay. It's okay.
Ah, okay.
We are back,
Technical thing,
everybody.
yes.
We are back online, everybody. So
Sorry.
we had some small discussion. It's all right. It's all right. It happens. That's life. So let me welcome the participants from Yerevan State University in Armenia, and I will hopefully read your names correctly. Pardon me if not. So we have with us Galus Nersisian, who is the director of the piece. Hello.
Hello.
We have Lilia Balbabian, who is the actress. Then we have Ani, who is also actress. Sorry, I didn't write down your last name. And then we have
Karapetyan.
Perfect. And then we have Hasmik, who is the translator.
Yes.
So let me now read the short annotation of your piece, which goes: the points on the time axis. The performance, The City Noise, highlights the changes in the destinies of people affected by disasters. What happens to an individual after such horrible disasters? The play was written on the basis of a photo of a father standing in front of the memorial to the victims of the terrorist attack, taken place in the USA on September 11th, 2001. 2011. Okay, maybe that's my mistake. The man's son was killed in the attack, together with almost 3,000 people. So, I would firstly like to ask, when was this performance rehearsed, and when was the first idea? Was it during the COVID situation or before, or maybe the short explanation how it actually now works in your country?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Now our director will speak and I'll try to translate.
Sure.
Մտահղացումը տեղի ունեցել են ժամանակ, երբ առաջին անգամ կարդացի այդ գործը, որը որ գրել է Դմիտրի Բագասլավսկի, գործը կոչվում է Точки над временной оси, այնտեղ ընդգրկված են մի քանի պատմություններ, որից ամենաշատը ինձ հուզել է հենց այդ թեման, որ մի մարդ փորձել է ուշադրություն չգրավելով միշտ ցկալ իր որդու մահը.
He says that the idea occurs to him when he first read the book. The author of this book is Dmitry Bogoslavsky, and
Точки над временной оси.
Okay, so that's it. And maybe I lost the information, but what time in the past did this idea come on? I mean, Was it during the last year, or maybe when was the premiere of the theater piece?
The premiere of the performance was last year.
Okay, maybe what time of the year?
Նշել հետևյալը, որ ներկայացումը երբ տեղի է ունեցել, եղել է լրիվ այլ կերպ, քանի որ մեր ազգը այս տարի COVID-ից զատ ունեցավ եւս մեկ աղետ, դա պատերազմն էր, եւ ես կարող եմ վստահեցնել, որ դերակատարները այլ կերպ սկսեցին զգալ այդ դերերը եւ մի փոքր թեմատիկ փոփոխություն տեղի ունեցավ.
And our director says that the premiere of the performance was last year in the spring. He also wants to add that the theme of the performance changed basically when last year in September war occurs in Armenia. We don't know whether you know or not. It is a really tragic situation in Armenia. And this situation affects our director, and so it is another tragedy, disaster for our nation.
Well, actually, this is the very strong experience you had, and maybe all the others didn't. So this is the really strong topic of yours. And if I may just say my point of view when I was watching your performance, it was really for me, as it was only, maybe the word only is not correct, but it was shot from one point of view. And it really, as it was performed in a kind of white cube, it really put some strong effect on me, that it worked kind of like imagery, like the very, just one point in the, or 1 second in all the time, all the universe, kind of strong experience. And we are, and as you are speaking about the situation in your country, it may be really strengthen the effect on the viewer. So maybe if you could tell us what was the response of your audience to your piece?
Իրականում պրեմիերայից հետո շատ կարևոր մի բան տեղի ունեցավ, դա հանդիսատեսը մոտավորապես բեմական մեր տարածությունը գիտեք ինչա, մոտավորապես 5-ից 10 րոպե պարզապես լռել է, նոր գնացել են ավանցյալ ծափահարությունները, դա ամենամեծ գնահատականն է եղել մեզ։
He says that after the performance, the audience were unable to speak nearly for 5 or 10 minutes. And after that, there were applauses, but at the time, the audience feels the whole theme of the performance, because it is very similar to our inner world, inner personality, because next.
Եվ ամենակարևորը ոնց որ եւ ներկայացման ամբողջ մթնոլորտն է, դուք շատ ճիշտ մեկնաբանեցիք, որի համար շատ շնորհակալ եմ, որ շատ ճիշտ եք հասկացել, եւ բնականաբար այդ ազդեցությունը հենց յուրաքանչյուր մարդուն է, ով գոնե մեկ կորուստ ունի իր կյանքում, այդ ներկայացումը հաստատ կհասկանա։
And their performance has a very deep influence on people. There is not any people in the world who will not deal with disasters, with the loss of someone close to him. That's why this performance has a very strong influence on the inner world of the audience. And it can, and the director says that he feels all this, he feels the reaction of the audience. They can read the basic theme of the performance very clearly, because it is very similar to them. As you know, it's very clear your opinion is correct. You feel his message. I can tell. So.
Clear enough. Thank you very much. And maybe just tell us what was the place where the performance took place, actually, the white cube we saw. And maybe the next question will go, why did the director pick up these 5 actors, for example? Are they his schoolmates, or why did he pick up just, or maybe write these 5, and why?
Բոլոր դերակատարները մեկ կուրսից են, երրորդ դերասանական կուրսից են, եւ մենք երբ որ նախաձեռնում ենք այդ աշխատանքը, մենք որոշեցինք պատկերավորումը տալ, այնտեղ տեսարաններ կան, որտեղ սրճարանի տեսարանն է եւ այլն, եւ ըստ դերասանակի քանակի կանգ ենք առել մեկ դերասանական կուրսի վրա.
And the director says that all the actors and actresses are from one course, so they are third course students of directing course. And first part of your question about the place, where did the event took place in the performance?
I mean, is that the acting class, the white cube we saw, or is it really the scenography of the play?
And the place is their class.
Sorry?
It is their class.
I see.
Իրականում մենք այս տարածքը, որը որ դուք տեսնում եք, նկարահանված տարբերակով, մենք դա ստանում ենք ամենտեղ, այսինքն մենք մեր ձեռքով կպցնում ենք թերթեր, մեր բեմական տարածքը ինքներս ենք դերակատարների հետ պատրաստում եւ այդ միջավայրը զգում։ Այսինքն որտեղ էլ լինենք, տարբեր տեղերում այս ներկայացումը ստեղծված անենց, որ տարբեր հարթակներում խաղանք։ Որտեղ էլ խաղանք, մենք ստանում ենք մոտավորապես նույն պատկերը։ Սպիտակ եւ սև այս փոխհարաբերությունը, որ ամեն մեկը ընկալում է իր ձևով։
Sorry,
Okay.
He said that the place, the scene where the performance is played is not important in this case. He only wants to give audience the feeling of the actors and actresses. The place is designed by them with the help of newspapers, but it doesn't matter how it will be designed. The main idea is to try to transmit the emotions of the actors and the real theme of the performance.
Okay, thank you. Well, actually, myself, I found the very nice pictures in the performance. For example, the very one I remember was at the very half of the performance. I mean, the very nice pieces of composition work, when the guy, the main actor, sits in the restaurant, and then there is some situation which stops, and it makes so nice composition work, like every single actor almost the composition looking as a very nice statue. So, and there are these parts I found really interesting. And maybe the next question goes for the actresses, for the ladies who were acting in the piece. And the question is that the actors, for me, except the main character, didn't play so-called the well-known characters, or for me there were maybe the persons without names, like no-named persons. How did the ladies actually work with this, and was it difficult for you to act in such a way? I mean, you don't play the very specific persons.
Քանի որ գաղափարը ընդհանուր է ու մենք բոլորս ոնց որ մասնակցում ենք այդ ներկայացմանը, կապ չունի որ երկրորդական կերպար ենք, նույն ձևով ապրում ենք այդ վիշտը եւ այլն, այդ դեպքում ինքը հեշտ է, այսինքն մեր համար խնդիր չի, որ մենք երկրորդական ենք, զգացողության առումով նույնն ենք զգում, ինչ որ գլխավոր դերակատարը։
Եվ եթե իրանք չլինեն թիկունքը ամուր, դերակատարը չէր կարող լինել լիարժեք, ինչքան ինքն է լիարժեք բեմում, այնքան էլ լիարժեք են հետևում։
And they say that it doesn't matter for them whether they are playing main characters or secondary characters. They play this performance like they are one person with the main characters, and they are editing the emotions of the main characters. They are trying to more vividly transmit the emotions of the main characters. And it doesn't matter whether they are playing as a main character or secondary character. The main idea is to give the audience the understanding of the theme of the performance and of the director. Idea of the director. Is it clear?
It is very clear. It is very clear. And maybe now there's the question for our juror, Ursula. What is your opinion about the performance?
Actually, what they have just told us, it's exactly how it was received as well. One thing that I have to add, like Roman asked, is that the space you work in, your classroom, as you said now, it really works well as a good scenographic space. And the scenography itself as well. It gives you a really good environment for the theme you've done with the newspapers and with the beginning when you kind of emerge out of the papers of as I would understand, and probably it is like, you know, the world fell apart, but you still come out of there. Also, movement-wise, I think the whole performance functions very well with all the moves you do. And in this space, because it's kind of really like a cell, you're in there, you're captured in there. I think it adds to this kind of feeling of wanting to have a possibility of, let's say, freedom and coming as the beginning, coming out of these ruins and starting a new life. That's how I could take it. Also, all this repetition, because you keep repeating the same text, is like, you know, things happening over and over again. But then something new happens and things try to go into a different perspective and remembering, you know, what life should be like and where we are now and where we would like to be. I hope I wasn't too fast, because I remembered in the meantime that it's a translation as well that has to happen for the guys. Are you happy with it, translators?
Okay. I just maybe remind our viewers that you can ask questions in our YouTube channel in the discussion if you are interested. So maybe Ursula, did I interrupt your speech or?
No. I thought that's kind of
okay.
How I did see it, like they explained it actually.
And maybe okay. And maybe as I understood that guys.
Thank you.
And as I understood, hopefully correctly, that all the performing actors from the piece are the students of directing program, or are they studying acting program?
And one of them is studying in the course of acting, the other studying in the course of directing.
Okay, so that's really interesting topic. That how do people who study directing actually perform? Was there any kind of discussion, or did you discuss all together maybe during the rehearsing process?
Okay, thank you for the question. Now they will try to answer to your question.
Okay.
Բեմադրությունից զատ մեր դասերն էլ առհասարակ անցել է միշտ բեմադրության ընթացքում բանավեճեր լինում են։ Խոսակցությունը նաև եղել է այս հատվածի ժամանակ։ Բայց այդ շատ լավ է ուսման ընթացքում, այսինքն բեմադրության ընթացքում դու նաև ռեժիսորի հետ սովորում ես ինչ-որ մի բան, ինչը մեր ուսանողների համար շատ կարևոր է։ Եղել են ու նաև ինչ-որ հատվածներ ռեժիսորը օգտագործում է կամ փոխում է կամ
Այսինքն միայն օգնել է։
Ուզում եմ նշել, որ դերասանները ինձ մոտ ստեղծագործողներ են, այլ ոչ թե կատարողներ։ Իհարկե, պարտադիր, որտեղ դա ստեղծագործական process։
Okay, thank you, guys. And they say that in the process of rehearsal and in the process of creating the performance, it is very important for them to say their opinions, and the director is taking into consideration the opinions of the members of the performance. Sometimes he uses their ideas in creating the topic of their performance, and besides, the students say that directors say that they learn a lot of interesting things from the director of the performance, and they will apply for sure it in their future activities concerning the acting and directing, in the field of acting and directing. So our directors say that all the members of the performance has their voice, and he listens to their voice. He takes into consideration their opinions, and very often tries to apply these opinions into the creating process of the performance.
Nice, great, thank you. Maybe how was the process of picking up, for example, the music? If only the director, I mean Galust, did pick up the music, or was it again the or let's say collective work?
Okay, thank you very much for the question. Now Ardelia will answer.
Okay.
Ռեժիսորը էմոցիոնալ դաշտով էր ընտրել երաժշտությունը, այսինքն շատ հոգեհարազատ ու համահունչ էր ներկայացման համար։ Վերջում ենք նոր թարգմանել բառերը ու հասկացել ենք, որ իրականում բառերն էլ շատ մինչև չի իմացել բառերի թարգմանությունը ռեժիսորը թե ինչի մասին է։ Բայց հետո հետաքրքիր էր, որ վերջում թարգմանեցինք, հասկացանք,
կեսից եք ասում վերջում։
Հա, կեսից կարող ասեք, հասկացանք, որ ոնց որ գրված լինի ներկայացման համար անգամ
Ես ասեմ, հետո դուք ասացամ։ And Delia says that from the very beginning, the music has been chosen by the director just based on the emotional state of the director. And they say that after translating the lyrics of the song, they didn't know the translation of the lyrics. After translating it, they found out that it is very typical to the theme of the performance. At first, the main, the basic point is the music. Then after, in the central part of the performance, when starting the translation, they found out that it is very typical. The words, also lyrics, is very typical to the theme of the performance.
Well, that's really nice. And maybe one more question about the camera work of the performance. Actually, it was only taken from one place, so it also gives you the very, maybe I will, or I will try to say it correctly, the very inner or very, I can't find the word, the very personal point of view to the performance. I mean, you are only looking from one point, and the camera doesn't go from side to side. There are no more cameras. Was it only because of some technical issues, or did you consider this this kind of streaming because of maybe some idea? Just one point of view, Steadicam.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I'll try to translate and he'll.
Sure. Sure.
Առհասարակ ուզում եմ նշել, որ շատ դեմ եմ լինում, երբ որ ներկայացումները նկարահանվում են եւ մենք մասնակցում ենք on-line տարբերակով, որովհետեւ իրականում եթե դուք դիտեք ներկայացումը իրականում, ես չխոստանամ, բայց շատ հանդիսատեսի կարծիքով կարող եմ վկայել, որ այս ներկայացումը մի այնպիսի ազդեցություն ունի իր վրա, այնպիսի մի հատ մթնոլորտ է ստեղծում, որ աննկարագրելի է եւ ես կարծում եմ, որ թատրոնը հենց դրա մասին է, այլ ոչ թե on-line տրանսլյացիայով։ Իսկ մտահղացումը նկարահանման մենք եղել է դիտավորյալ, որովհետեւ մենք անընդհատ փորձել ենք ամեն ինչը, ինչպես եւ ներկայացման մեջ կարող եք դիտարկել Դուք կարող եք դիտարկել թե ներկայացման մեջ ինչպես է, թե հագուստները, թե ֆորման ներկայացան, մենք ուզեցել ենք ամեն ինչը լինի մինիմալ, որովհետև մեզ կարևորը փոխանցել մթնոլորտն ու ազդեցությունը, այլ ոչ թե նկարագրությունը։ Բնականաբար տեխնիկական առումով դերասանների խաղը գծելու համար լավ կլիներ, որ նկարահանվեր երեք կողմով, բայց ես ավելի շատ ուզեցել եմ, որ ներկայացումը դիտարկվի հենց ամբողջական տեսքով, մեկ աչքով։
And he says that generally he's against for the online version of watching the performances. He says that he should that if you watch the performance face to face with the actors, the emotions which you feel will be quite different, will be more strongly, you'll be more strongly affected by the play of our actors, by the performance itself, by the music. He says, but what about the choice of the camera? It has been done deliberately. Sorry, I cannot remember the next part of the answer. Now I'll answer. And
sure. Sure.
It has done deliberately because he wants you to know, to watch it. He chose one camera because he wants to give the effect that you are watching the performance with the eye of one person. One person is watching, not moving camera here. Just as how can one person sit and watch the performance? He wants to give this effect by using one camera. I don't know. Is it clear?
It is very clear, and maybe I have the last question for you, which goes with the. I am really sorry about this asking you, but I'm just checking the situation in your country. Maybe if you have the so-called lockdown situation in your country because of COVID. I know you had some maybe more difficult times. We don't know about or maybe cannot realize how it works. But if the COVID situation actually did affect your thinking about ideas of the performance?
Միջև պատերազմը եւ միջև COVID-ը եւ պատերազմի COVID-ի ընթացքում բնականաբար այդ լոկդաունն էր, բոլորս ինչպես որ ամբողջ աշխարհում այդ իրավիճակում էին գտնվում ու դրան գումարվեց նաեւ պատերազմը ու այդ ամեն ինչից հետո երբ որ նորից խաղացվեց ներկայացումը կամ երբ որ պատկերացնում ես որ նորից կխաղաց ներկայացումը ավելի մոտ ես քեզ զգում այդ ցավը, որովհետեւ մինչ այդ մենք ունեցել ենք դրանից առաջ ունեցել ենք ցեղասպանություն եւ այլն, բայց մեր վրա չենք զգացել այդ ու հիմա նոր սերունդը երբ որ իր վրա զգաց այդ COVID-ը, լոկդաունը եւ պատերազմը զուգահեռ ավելի խորը սկսեցինք հասկանալ ու ավելի մեզնից այդ մեզնից ավելի շատ
ես որպես ռեժիսոր
Now, our actress says that the COVID situation, the situation in Armenia concerning COVID is really, let me say, awful right now, but it doesn't affect our inner world as much as the war which occurred in September last year. It's a very tragic situation for the whole nation, for all the Armenians, and this situation is very much affected. These two situations, and now our country is living not, let me say, in a easy times, because afterward there are a lot of losses, a lot of we have let me say there are not solving situation right now. We are living in a not solving situation, and it's very difficult, hard times for our nation, for us, and we'll try to do our best to, let me say, to improve our situation, improve our life, to heal our wounds. I don't know whether it is possible or not, because it is awful situation. It is disaster for the whole nation, and we can say that there is also we lived another horrible event in our life. Armenian genocide. And so, but we cannot, but this situation, this war is, we are living in the time where we can see war. It is really awful. In the 21st century, we cannot imagine that such kind of things can happen, and the whole world, nearly the whole world is silent. They are just putting aside and trying not to do something for the helping us, but it is disaster, and our students say so. COVID is not easy. It is not an easy situation, but for us, war, genocide, all the other things is very important. So we are affected by these things rather than COVID.
Եվ ես ուզում եմ ավելացնել, որպես ռեժիսոր կարող եմ ասել, ինչպես խաղում ենք նույն այս ներկայացումը առաջ եւ ինչպես խաղացինք հիմա, լրիվ տարբեր է։ Եվ շատ շնորհակալ եմ ձեզ եւ մյուս մեկնաբանության համար, որ տվեցիք։ Դուք շատ ճիշտ եք զգացել ներկայացումը, ազդեցությունը։ Այս ներկայացումը նաեւ ուներ հենց այդ մեսիջը տեղեկացնելու, որ սա էլ տերակտի նման ինչ-որ մի հատ բան կատարվեց մեր ազգի գլխին, եւ շատ լավ է, որ գոնե ներկայացման տեսքով այս ազդեցությունը, եթե հասկանում եմ, էկրանից այն կողմ չես կարող 100% անոց ունենալ, բայց եթե 5% էլ ես ունեցել, ուրեմն դա մեզ համար շատ կարևոր է, շնորհակալ ենք։
And he wants to thank you, as you really feel the situation. He says that this after the war they played the situation quite differently, because it is type of disaster, and they were living with this disaster, and they feel the whole difficulty of these disasters, so they played quite differently emotionally. They have quite different feelings after the war. We all have quite different feelings after the war, and we can feel the whole emotional state of being a part of disaster. Let me say so, being part of this awful situation. It is for us another event, another terract for us.
I see. Thank you very much. And maybe this was the last words. I really, guys, send you a lot of power and have strong minds and do such a great theater as you did. And hopefully we will see next time personally in maybe even stronger world. So keep yourself healthy and with strong minds. Thank you very much for the discussion. For you attending.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you for understanding. You are really doing a good job. Thank you very much. It was very interesting.
We thank you for attending our festival, and hopefully we will see you personally. And as we have our German friends connected on, we will be moving to the third performance, which came from Academy of Performing Arts Baden-Wuerttemberg in Ludwigsburg, Germany, and the name of the performance is That Wasn't It. I will read the short annotation afterwards, but first we will play the short preview of the performance. Let's go.
Bevölkerung, für die Frauen, für die LGBTQ-Gemeinde. Mikro, Jansu, ich kann dich nicht hören, sorry. Du musst dein Mikro anmachen. Ja, da. Jansu.
Eine Besitzurkunde erhalten. Die Quilombolas müssen sich permanent vor Vertreibung schützen.
Schreibtisch, Bücherregale. Sein Bürostuhl ist imposant. Erziehung der Quilombolas zuständig und lebt seit 20 Jahren in Brasilien. Die Lehne ragt weit über seinen Kopf hinaus.
Aber ich werde sie zitieren. Zitat Anfang. Die Geschichte von Palmeiras ist nicht einfach für die brasilianische Elite, die das Thema gerne auslöschen möchte oder die Geschichte der schwarzen Bevölkerung als reine Folklore darstellen möchte.
Okay, hi guys. You managed to reconnect, but not all of you. Not all of you, so there's been some situation, but I guess we will have some nice talk anyhow. And let me please welcome Luisa Krause.
Hey.
I remember both of you guys, and Joscha Eisen, or Joscha, is it?
My name is Nicola Schwarzburger. I'm using the device of a friend, so it's not my name. It's a little.
Okay.
But,
so can you?
But you can call me Joscha. I have no problem.
I will call you Joscha, or maybe
yes.
just repeat your first name, the original one.
Nicholas.
Nicholas. Okay.
Yes.
So, guys, I will now read the very short annotation of your performance, and then we will go for the questions. So,
yes.
With a view to the states whose independence they fought for, the former freedom fighters say, that wasn't it. That was not what we had in mind. One thing they did know was that they didn't want any more ever. The dubiousness of 5 centuries of colonial and imperial certainties are forever exposed by their revolts that made colonialism, racism, and all the theories that justify them unacceptable. The student performers collected material on these topics and included themselves and their own learning process in the investigation. How do I learn? What affects me? What not? When was the last time I became aware of something that changed my view of the world? What do we know about Portugal as a colonial power? What happens to a country whose land has been completely exploited? And what about the people there? Why is a Portuguese dictator still revered years after his overthrow? How come that we have the Che Guevara t-shirts everywhere, but hardly anyone knows the freedom fighter Amilcar Cabral? And why is it that the only names we retained of the independence movements are male? How can we face the history of the people of another country without cultural appropriation or cliches? 12 acting students research 500 years of colonialism, explore their own entanglements in it, and observe their own learning process. An evening of documentary theatre emerges from these interlinked investigations in which we examine, is racism a European developmental disorder? That wasn't it. That was not what we wanted to know. So, and let me welcome Ruby. Hi, Ruby. You managed to connect to us. Okay, so guys, first, when did this theater piece come to the life? I mean, when was the premiere? Was it during the COVID time?
Yeah, I think it was in the end of December, but we didn't really had a premiere because it was not allowed to have audience in it. So just played in front of 5 people.
And we actually didn't even do a premiere. We just did like the last rehearsals, and then we had to leave actually. So we didn't do it to the end actually.
Okay, I just remind all our viewers, if you are interested, you can send the questions through our YouTube channel, I mean in the discussion. So maybe you guys, you are all the performers of the performance, so you are the actors obviously, and what is your point of view, or what is your experience with this documentary theater? I mean, again, the question goes, you didn't play, at least for me, the precise characters as we see in Chekhov, for example. You maybe were altogether I mean, from the outside view, one person actually telling me your story or maybe your idea. So what is your experience, all of you, with such a documentary theater? Or maybe is it really happening, this documentary theater in a German context?
Well,
maybe okay.
Yeah.
Go on, please.
We all had like very different experiences with it. Some were like very interested in that kind of theater. Others had like problems with it because it was, for us all, it was the first time doing documentary theater. Normally we are used to like getting plays and then work on it. And all of the research work, because we started like 2 months before, just with like individual research. And it really depended on the individuals, how they worked with it. And so it depended, yeah. So, or of course we weren't playing roles, we were just like I was just standing as Ruby, like telling what I researched.
Yeah, I think like the experience was very different, and all of us had different, like Ruby said, different pictures of it in mind when we started. And I think it was all about to find forms, ways to deal with this genre and with this topic, and to find theatrical ways. I wouldn't say that there are no figures in our play. It's like I think in a few scenes there are kind of figures too. So I think it's oscillating between those things, like a more, I don't know how to say, performative, like we are the players ourselves way, and then more figures and telling stories in a conventional way. So it's a little both is there, I would say.
Yeah, I think it was, for me, it was like a big question during this production. How can I come on stage? Because the topic is so big and so important. And for me, for example, it was pretty hard to play because it's so important, and it was so hard to deal with it. Should I deal with it like as a performer or as a private person or like a figure? I don't know. it's pretty hard to find like the right way. I don't know, and there are so many ways how you can do it or how you can bring it on stage. And I think at the beginning I thought, okay, documentary theater is like, okay, we are working with video and audio and projection, you know. And then we met Adeline, our director, and she is working completely different. And it was a little bit, oh my God, what happens here? Because my imagine was so different at the beginning, how it works to do like documentary theater. Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Because your director, I hope I pronounce it correctly, Adeline Rosenstein, and she is professional. Maybe what's your experience with the professional director as you are being students, and maybe tell me how it went with the topic. Did she come with the topic, or did you all together picked it up? I mean, maybe with some brainstorming, or did just she come with it?
She brought it to us, and actually at the beginning we were like, what the fuck, because what does Portuguese colonial history has to do with us, or why don't we do like the German colonial history, which is a big thing as well, obviously. But the further we worked on the topic, we noticed that we have a lot in common with it, because Portugal is Europe and so on, and that there are so many links to German history and just to Europe history. So at the end, it wasn't a question for us, but at the beginning we were really like, okay, why? Actually, yeah. And with her as a director, she's very, she let us a lot of space to try out. She really wanted us to do our own experiences with directing ourselves, because we were split up in little groups. And then we directed ourselves actually, and she then came and gave feedback and tried to fix it together to one play, and so on. Yeah.
Okay, maybe. And what was the opinions to this topic within your acting group? Maybe, I mean, as you are the one body, were there any differences about this topic? I mean, one against, and one would go with it so strongly and maybe fighting for his idea. Maybe Luisa, please.
Yeah, we had a lot of fights because most of the people in our ensemble are white people, and we are talking about racism, and it was very complicated because a lot of people said, I don't want to do it because it felt so bad if we are doing it like a white ensemble, or most of white ensemble. And yeah, it was, also in the end, we had a lot of fights. Are we playing it? Yes or not? Because some people said, I don't want to be on stage with it because we are doing like a reproduction of racism sometimes. And yeah, I don't know. We still have different opinions, and I don't know, I thought after a while you can't do it in 6 weeks because it's so big, and you need a lot of space and a lot of conversations also with the POC people and talk with them. I don't know, and it was too short. Mm-hmm.
Nicholas.
And also fights about which styles to choose, like how funny can we be, and how funny in which context, and can we bring some kind of music or musical in it too. So that's like when we worked so individually, there were so individual ideas, I think. So everyone brought his personal taste in it too, and this is sometimes like irritating maybe for others. But I think we did a good job in the end in accepting that there are different tastes and different ways to tell things. So, yeah.
It is still about finding the borders, right? Even in one context and even in the another, I mean, in the creating the theater play, the borders where the fun should stop, maybe, let's say. And as you said, Nicolas, you even actually get the romantic music in the piece, and I really like the picture of girl singing, sitting on the piano, and the guy playing it, and it was really nice. And maybe who picked the roles for every single one of you, or did it come out from some improvisations that you play this and you play that, and how did it actually manage? Ruby.
Yeah, there were like we had like different big topics, and then one person was responsible for that topic. And then, like, for example, I came up with an idea and I need 5 people, and then 5 people just stood up and said, okay, just direct us, or so on. And then we did like improvisations, and some people wrote text or did the music. So it was like yeah, some things out of improvisation, some things out of like conceptual ideas that people had, and then we tried out, and a lot of it didn't work out, so we said, okay, just next try. We had like, the joke was, that wasn't it, like, okay, that's not it, let's throw it away. So yeah.
Anybody want to add anything to this? Okay, so I will ask our juror, Ursula, what is your experience with this kind of documentary theater, and actually what is your point of view within this theater piece we saw?
I found it most interesting. Like, first thing that's really admirable is that you've done this piece all together, like this collectiveness, you can feel it in the piece. And I think this is first very important. Second, as you already said yourself, the theme, why Portuguese colonialism. On the other hand, since you're German, and it's for you actually far back in a way, but on the other hand, we still all remember the Second World War, all this, and the fact which you kind of found out, we know that, but the fact that the whole Europe, if you look at many, mostly as Western countries, in the East, you would find some other problems which we had among ourselves, which we talked about before. But like most of the Western countries invaded someone or were bringing wars onto someone in the past. Very bad wars, like the ones you've discovered working with so many hundreds of years old colonialism. Let's not go all the way to America and so on. So, and then here we have the Armenians, which just had their war right now. And we keep on hoping that we're going to learn, like the Czechs, the Brno performance was saying, let's hope we finally learn something out of it and do not repeat it. But I think it's really important to keep on repeating performances like all of you did actually. Today we could have a common topic actually. And this is discussing, it is important. This is what you just said now, that you couldn't agree whether it's good to come out with a performance like that or not. Are you being racist or not? I think it's important to put these things out again and again, because obviously we still haven't learned enough. I mean, I won't repeat again, Slovenia, we thought we were quite a democratic and, you know, a cool country. At the moment, we're just going in the wrong direction, absolutely. And, you know, we've seen everything. We've been, you know, suppressed in many different ways, and it still doesn't help us to get the biggest idiot as a president. And as acting is concerned, it's interesting because at first I said, yeah, but they're not acting. But on the other hand, if there would be people from the street, they wouldn't be able to put up a performance like you did, because you were acting. First, even to be a kind of documentarily telling us the stories you have, that's one thing. Then, like you said, you made little stories, which is nice to hear that I know how you actually constructed the whole thing. But within those stories, you do act. There is places where it's kind of really clear that you invented some little jokes within and then made, let's call it a little sketch. So there is different types of how you put together the performance, including the little spaces you've made on the floor, in the air, and so on. The images you brought to us, of course you were acting. If you weren't, we'd be watching really a documentary, which we haven't. We have watched a documentary performance, which is an interesting genre, actually, that we don't see that often in such a manner. Especially, we still have been watching you on TV now, let's call it TV, which is still acceptable. We know how it is to watch documentary on TV, but live, I would like to see this performance. It would be interesting to see you live. Of course, all performances would be nice to have seen them live, but you know, to see a documentary performance live with all the little sketches that you've put up in there, and you know, the scenic resolutions that you found, which I thought were really clever. You made it quite unboring. You know, if you would be only telling us all these things that you found out, we could also have just a long script of how many people have been hurt in this and this many ways, and you know, and go home. But here you've made all this, you brought the problem closer to us, and you made us think about what is the past of Germany. How do you, why did you maybe even feel that you need to look at somebody else's, let's say, not too nice past to compare it to German not too nice past, and as you said, to compare it to the whole Europe's not too nice past, a certain era that none of us has lived those times, but we have grandparents, grandparents that all have different stories, have been at different sides of these stories, the same as in Czech Republic, talking about communism, like the actress Veronica was explaining, and you all have surely the same different sides of stories. So the whole thing, I think it's important, like all three performances today that we're talking about today have been opening maybe similar question. What is our past? Have we learned anything from it? And can we begin being better people finally, including Corona, which is the opposite of what we all wish at the moment, but that's where we are. But I think all of you have done a good job being, you know, watching you on online, preferring to see you alive, which we can't. I think that each performance had something really specific about it, and so did your documentary performance and your the work you have put together. I think this is really an important point in your performance, that you all have been working together, and it's nice to know how exactly you've been doing that, because now I can understand some things even better. Just how you have been putting the performance together, and it's interesting. Thank you.
Actually, Ursula, as you were speaking, I was really playing the parts of the performance back in my mind now, and I know it will sound heretic, and I'm really sorry for it. I really would like to see you live, but from these three performances, I really, let's say, mostly enjoyed the very one of yours online, maybe because of the genre of documentary theater, but I wasn't so unhappy watching it online than the other ones, which were really dramatic and so on, if you get me. I mean it in a very good way, that watching you, and you were working as one organism, really telling me the topic of yours, and I was really enjoying watching you and getting the information without being over I don't know how to say it, right? but over touched or whatever. So, and maybe if you just tell me about how the making process of the theater piece did go on. Did you also participate within the parts of scenography or within the parts of music, as you were speaking about the pseudo romantic stuff with the piano or so on. So maybe ladies first.
Yeah. Yeah, with the music, definitely. I don't know if you know, but in the original version, we had like a second musical part with it, where all the boys were like jumping on this stage thing and singing a song. We had to cut that out because of the hour. So there was one boy in our class who wrote the music and wrote the lyrics and did that himself and did the choreographies and so on. He was really into that. Very good. With the stage, we had one woman who were like thinking about the stage stuff, but we could always bring in ideas, and we had a lot of like discussions together. It was yeah, very low hierarchy. I don't know how to say it.
And maybe something to add. I don't know, we wrote all these texts by our own, so it's from us. So we wrote by ourselves.
Or from the people we spoke with, we had interviews with, and that's something we tried to work with. And there was always this difficulty to deal with this text in a theatrical way, but also like being honest and nice and full of respect with the people we spoke with, and to you know, to bring them on stage, but to bring them on stage like they are, or like what they want to say, and not what we want them to say or how we want to use them. That's a very tough thing to deal with, I would say.
Can I have
Ursula.
a question?
Sure.
I just have a question, because script, it says the professor wrote the script. No, Marie Devro. That is who?
Yeah, she was a directing assistant. She yeah, was assistant. She also helped us with like with the whole play, with the text.
Because we as a jury understood it that way. I would like you to explain me so that we know exactly. So the script, here it says the script is Marie Devro, but actually all the texts are absolutely yours.
Or from like or we are doing like the, I don't know, how do you call it, the quotes, or we quoting.
Yeah. That's
or,
understandable. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's our own text, or we quoted the people we had interviews with.
So what was the Marie's role? Why is she written under the script?
I don't know, she was like managing the text, like documented it during the production, and that there's a structure and organized everything, but
okay, she put it together.
Yeah, we did it together.
She kind of just put together all your script.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if anybody attending this discussion maybe has any question, please, you are very welcome to ask. And maybe you guys just tell us what are you going on, or maybe what's going on in your lives. As you said, you are now having a school, which actually isn't possible in our country. So maybe how is your life going on within your school?
Actually, at the moment we have holidays, but we have some like Zoom conferences always in between. Okay. But we are very lucky to get tested once a week, and so we actually can meet and do productions in real life at our academy. Very lucky, yes.
Yeah, we just have our dancing class and stuff like that in smaller groups, because normally we are 12 people in our class, and we have with 12 people like dancing class, and now we have to, we are just 6 people in one class, so yeah, we have less lessons, but we can work, so yeah.
But you can't obviously perform live, right?
Yeah, we can, but without audience, so just in front of teachers, classmates, and I don't know, 1 month ago we had like a play and we did a stream. We did like a live stream. Yeah.
Okay, guys, thank you very much for attending our discussion. Thank you everybody for attending today's discussion. I am very glad you attended our festival, and hopefully we will see live sometime. So it was a pleasure to meet you everyone online today, and maybe this is the end of the discussion. Thank you very much again, and see you tomorrow. And have a nice party tonight, right, everyone?
And thank you for very good
Thank
job
you.
of the host.
A lot.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, thank you a lot.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Have a nice day.
Stay healthy, everyone. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.